Yeah, the big one France. I've done a lot of fun. Yeah, I think a lot of fun. It's very awkward, right? Then you don't have right side stick. I think a lot of like station.
The station become very similar.
But this one I'm very worried because yeah, you see, I think I record lah. I can't see, so I think my live on.
Is it live?
Yeah, but why I can't see that?
But how? If I want to view, how am I supposed to view? Like if I use my phone and then. I think it's Singapore now.
No, is it like so I have to feel I cannot roll this.
你会直接是你要通过法律，那我开给你好了。哦。
Music,
second friend of me too.
其实我们有在那个 WeChat 里边了，
我们也在聊，你说的是他们那个 CPU 嘛？
对，这聊
对，我就趁机我们多聊一点。就今年十一周期会再完整的讲一下我们的技术理念和方案。最接也会是在7月份的时候去拉出以前有一个所以我们带到 Q3、Q4 中间的这个地方会准备发布给我们到 Q4才来发布。这样的话，我们就希望是说，留给我们工作的时间一个季度 Q3，我们 Q3可以好好工作，Q3可以好好合作。然后我们现在的 API 的推什么把 SDK 已经写好，所以我们这期给这个我们亲戚们我那边有几个朋友，大家去介绍一下。
韩国人，我们的朋友，我是中国人的。
谁？小米，很多人我们大概有20只吧。一个人很多人说不好。
杨教授在吗？
跟他沟通一下。
我跟他在，我也是微信跟他接，不是。
对，现在就是
他基金呢，他什么都投。
你看。哦，谢谢。你现在做哪个？你也没有。我们现在在做那个一个方案。OK。对，我们自己基金，我们是一口50放，就5个放1个做。所以我们会有这些AWS或者是一些自己本身这一块呢，需要帮助你的项目去把这个。
今天来了几个人啊？
我来一个。对，来我这边，赵经理。对，除了女孩子都能够来，但是不能来，因为新加坡是签证。为什么提前？没有原因啊。现在
新加坡不是很好签吗？
但是是吧？女孩子看价格讲话，把它价格。
这边几个朋友介绍一下。
好的，好。
So we are more on the hands-on. Yeah, correct. You want to make money, so手动machine. Every year it Big machine là ngay sẵn sàng được lên toàn
I need this table. I need this table. Like I need it right here. Right here. I want to put the stuff right here.
Your magic pipe? Yes, we have a national I'm not a super big player. I used to play. I don't have that much time. It's still a big thing. but John can definitely.
So this is my table. Works with physical movements. So it's going to be using these two characters. Are fighting. Place it on the screen. The screen will detect what pieces there are. Yep. So if you want to move or something, then you have to play these cards. So turn on the lights just like that. If you want to move, then play teleport. Now you can pick them up. Yeah, or if I
Everyone, good evening. So if we could just get your attention, about to start the event. Thank you. So good evening once again. So welcome to Edge Innovate. We're very happy to have such a good crowd here. And thank you for coming down on Friday evening after work. So I'd just like to introduce to you guys the organizers for today's event, as well as the speakers from different companies. So before that, I'm Nikki from Edge Innovate, and I'm the community builder here. So basically what I do is we organize events such as this, to provide you guys information and hope you guys learn as much as we are doing. So at Edge Innovate, we focus on deep tech. So blockchain is one of the aspects of deep tech that we actually focus in, which is today's event's all about. So I'm very happy to introduce to you guys Morpheus Labs, NEM, and Blockchain. As you know, they'll do their different presentations for today. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy today's event. And without further ado, I'll pass the time to Branson, the co-founder for Morpheus Labs. Thank you.
Okay, while we're waiting for that, let me just introduce Morpheus Labs. Anyone not heard of Morpheus Labs? Okay, okay, so Morpheus Labs, essentially what we do is that we are a blockchain platform as a service. Right? So that is a very long phrase, but at the end of the day, what we do is actually to help people or even enterprises to explore blockchain use cases or even what blockchain to use. Okay. So this looks familiar because it's the scene upstairs. We actually came out of this place, so very glad to be back. The blockchain space has been really exciting. I think over the past few years, in fact 2 to 3 years, it has gained a lot of attention. For those of you who know, if you want to raise money, just put a blockchain name in front of your startup company, you can probably get some attention, right? So, but seriously, how do you get started, right? At the end of the day, there's so many blockchains out there. Started off with Bitcoin blockchain, and obviously we all know about Ethereum. You have your NEM, so on and so forth, Neo, Cardano, and so on and so forth, right? So, but essentially, are they all the same, or are they doing different things, right? If they are doing different things, how do I then know what use case apply for which blockchain, right? So, at Morpheus Labs, what we aim to do is to answer these three questions, right? Number one, what is the distributed ledger technology, or what is the blockchain that I should use, right? And the reason why we came up with these 3 problem statements is because as we experimented with blockchain for a couple of years back, and we realized that a lot of enterprises come back to us with these 3 questions, right? When they want to do a project, they'll always start with the same question: which blockchain should I use? Right? And then followed by, okay, if I'm in the fishing industry or supply chain or whatever, what use case, what can I use blockchain for? Right, that's the second question. And finally, okay, great, I have a blockchain, I selected this blockchain, I know the use case, how do I get started? Where do I find blockchain developers? How much should I pay them? Should I hire 2, 3 of them, or should I outsource it to somebody, or what? Right? It's the same questions again and again. So what we aim to do is to solve all these 3 problems. Right? So our platform essentially is to save you time. Right? So the entire stack is actually ready to use. Right? So I'll show you the architecture in a bit. Essentially, there is no wastage of time. You do not need to invest a lot of time trying to figure out, which blockchain to use. You do not need to download anything and so on. Right? So save you time, money. That is the most important, right? At the end of the day, if you have gone to, I won't name names, some blockchain companies, reputable ones, and you ask them, okay, I have this idea, I want to use blockchain. Can you give me a quote? Right? That figures run into $500,000 or $1 million, right? Easily, right? Anything that requires blockchain technology, you can be sure that the premium will be there. Right? So we aim to reduce this part. At the same time, let us do all the heavy lifting, right? At the end of the day, the question for you is to go to market as soon as possible, right? Your job or your concern is not to sync the nodes to the mainnet. That's not your job, right? Your job is to get the app or the use case out into the market, right? And test the idea. So we help you do that. And if I may continue, I would also say that we also enable enterprises to fail fast, right? Failing is a taboo word, but at the end of the day, if you think about it, all the use cases now may or may not work. Right? But at the end of the day, do you want to spend $500,000 testing on an idea but not knowing whether it will work? Right? So those are the reasons why we are starting this. Any questions? So the pictures are really big, but essentially I'm showing you the team because it's very important that you know who we are. Myself, I'm the co-founder. PM is right with me. Right in front. And then we have Bruce and Dorel. So maybe just a little bit about us. I've done a lot of things with tech, but I also sit on the Singapore Fintech Association as one of the committee members, so I wear different hats. But at the end of the day, our passion is all in tech. Right? So Bruce, for example, he came from IBM Hyperledger. Dorel was the ex-CIO of UniCredit Bank. Right? So why I'm showing you this slide is because you need people who have done it before, putting together enterprise platform in order to bring this forward. Right? These guys, not me, these guys will know best what works for enterprises because at the end of the day, they went through the same thing. Right? And if you imagine if you're in a bank, any software that you put out has to be mission critical, right? This is mission critical, so therefore it cannot fail. Right? So how then do you make sure that the software that you put out is robust, right? Obviously, when we first started, there are 4 of us, but since then we have actually grown the team by a lot. We have Hannah, Clara, Grace, and so on, right? We are still hiring. In case you are a blockchain developer, please reach out to us. Right? We'll be very glad to speak to you. Okay? So, this is our platform. So if you imagine the entire stack here, at the bottom layer you have your cloud servers. Right? So you have your AWS or whatnot. And on top of it will be your different blockchains. So you have your NAND, your blockchain, and other blockchains that we're going to put in. Right? And then you have your cloud development environment, your smart contracts application running on top, and the abstraction layer, which is your access management. So you can provision for different users, different enterprises, different groups, and different teams. Right? And on the right-hand side, what you see here, the darker shade, will be your app store. Right? Why do we do that? The reason is because if you think about it, right, if you have an idea, right, and you want to go to market, right? So assuming all those things are solved, the next question is how do I start coding, right? Software development nowadays, you don't code from scratch. You don't write line 1 followed by the rest, right? So you have code libraries and so on and so forth. So we have curated some of the smart contracts out there, or even applications, decentralized apps. You can actually, you know, report some of this code base and modify from there. Okay, maybe sample applications and so on and so forth. Now, if you look at it this way, the bottom layer, which is your database or your cloud servers, it's already provisioned for you. The blockchains are all there, right? And the code is also there, right, from the App Store. So essentially, you have everything in one place. So what then you need to do is just run through the different use cases and just go to market as soon as possible. Okay? Any questions? Yeah. So in terms of roadmap, what we have done so far, since January, in fact, we actually started 1.5 years back. In January, we had our first minimum viable product, MVP. In August, we're going to release our beta. Okay. Commercial version will actually come out in October. And if you understand blockchain or you have been in blockchain space for close to a year or even more than 6 months, you would know that the biggest problem in blockchain world is actually interoperability and also scalability, right? The reason why I say that is because you think about it, it's coming back to the same question, right? Every other day there's a new blockchain coming out, right? So you're going to write different code for different blockchains. The question is, you know, if I write code for this, do I need to redevelop on this and so on and so forth, right? So imagine you learn Solidity today for Ethereum. The next day you're going to learn something else and so on and so forth. So it makes it very, very difficult for enterprises to try different things, right? Would we have a scenario where you write once, deploy many? That is interesting, right? So that is something that we will be focusing on going forward. Scalability. Any questions? So in terms of business update, what's new, right?
Yeah, can you roll back to slides? Yeah, in this case, when, say for example, somebody adopt NAM, so the guess is NAM or your coin. But how do you structure the usage of tokens?
So as of now, we have our own tokens.
That's right.
Yeah. So we will be working on how can we run all these things together. Right now, what you're doing is actually you can actually deploy certain applications using the native currencies. But we are looking at how we can port across this network. So, for those of us who have seen or know about Morpheus Labs, we are not new. So which is why I'm showing this out, right? So we recently signed an MOU with Show International. For those of us who are not aware, Show International is actually a company of Batelco, right? It's a government agency in Bahrain. Right? And at the same time, we will also be releasing our testnet, right? Our own version of testnet. Basically, we have our invited partners and enterprises who can actually try out. Okay. I'm not going to read through all this, but essentially what we'll be doing is we'll be helping them set up the first innovation lab in that region. Okay? And they will be our distributor. Okay? So it's very exciting for us because imagine when we redistribute our platform, what we need is partners to help us bring across different geographies and different regions. For any startup or any business, at the end of the day, you want to be showing profitability, right? There are a lot of startups out there that basically raise a ton of money, but at the end of the day, you know, how then do you remain profitable or even be profitable, right? So we raised about 100K, 100,000 before our token event. And ever since then, so the annual rate of return is about 125 times. Now, we raised about $10 million from the token event, and again, based on revenue that is coming in, it's approximately about 16 times, right? We have about 10 million on cash on hand. So right now, as of October 2017, our revenue order book is 4 million. Right? So I can say that because there are not a lot of startups again that has this kind of performance. More business metrics, okay. Incidentally, we are live on YouTube, which is why our audience from Korea and some other countries, they're actually looking out for this, right? So this is for them. Essentially, our inquiries has grown, right? Order book has grown from 700,000 to 1.3 million, in total about 4, and partnerships as well. Okay. Now, if you look at the order book today that we have a variety of enterprises or even companies coming to us, right? So, for example, we have an aircraft supply chain company coming to us, right? And if you understand the airline industry, it's a very tough business, right? I'm not talking about airlines, I'm talking about the supply chain as well, right? So if you are flying the airline, if you have a business in aircraft, essentially you need to keep the planes flying, right? What you want to avoid is a scenario called AOG. Anybody from the airline industry? AOG is aircraft on ground, right? So if you have an aircraft on ground, essentially you're not making money. You rather fly with half load, half capacity rather than not flying, right? So a lot of airlines are facing this pressure of having to fly the airplanes, but because of wear and tear, the question is how do you then get the supply parts as soon as possible, right? So this company does that, but they only accept US dollars and so on and so forth. So, but then again, if they accept US dollars, there's also the issue of counterfeit supply parts, right? Counterfeit supply parts is a big problem in aircraft. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to fly on a plane, right? So the question is how do you then make sure that the supply parts are original and genuine, right? So we are helping them to do that track and trace part, right? Provenance. Same thing goes for another company, food products, right? We know that the food that you eat, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that it comes from the original source, right? Or sources that they claim to have come from, right? So we are doing that for another company as well. Okay. So partnerships, we have, incidentally this week, we also partnered with NTU, Nanyang Technological University, to run a hackathon, right? So we are doing a lot of things to ensure that there is enough room for us to push in terms of where blockchain space is going, not how much Bitcoin will cost next year or tomorrow, right? So I think a lot of the talk and focus has been somewhat diverted to price, which is not right. So here we are trying to shift the focus back to blockchain tech itself. Okay.
Question. Yep. On the order, what does it mean? Does it mean you have 1.3 billion enterprises paying?
Yes. So we have agreed on a contract value with these customers, and they're going to pay us the total of this. Yes.
How do you remain transparency for company when they use
transparency?
In terms of like I like to know, is that a private blockchain or
So depending on the use case, right? Most of the time what we're doing now is sort of on a private permission blockchain. We are also experimenting with NAND, potentially blockchain, and also Ethereum. So depending on the use case, we actually set up the nodes for them. Obviously not connecting to the mainnet yet. That's where we actually test out some of the things. We are also in talks with another company to actually do scalability tests. How do we load test this application, whether it can scale, right? If you are financial services and we have talks about how do you rival the transaction per second of Visa or Master, if you set up 3 nodes, how are you going to measure that? Right? So that's where we also help companies to actually load test some of these technologies. So I want to pass this time over to Dorel, who will bring us through some of the tech updates for Morpheus.
Thank you, Brandon. Okay, thank you, everybody. So, for who doesn't know me, I'm here because I have extensive knowledge in enterprise services and enterprise platform. And for who doesn't know the journey of Morpheus Lab, it was a long journey. We started in January, and the idea I had in mind, and was to create a large scalable platform architecture. I push to use the latest technology. We use open source technology for infrastructure, particularly microservice infrastructure. So we move forward from January, work backwards a lot, and move to the first MVP. MVP was more or less in February, was launched, and made a lot of good, positive feedback we got, because already MVP at that stage was able to provide effective application in the Ethereum blockchain, and at that time we had a test also in Hyperledger as well. So our effort has been all the time into how to put all those pieces together and to be able to scale no matter where the customer is located. So Asia, Middle East, Europe, later. So that's why we think how to provide this accessible way. So that's the reason we are blockchain as a service, and as Branson mentioned when it showed the architecture, we are running everything in cloud, including the tools, the developer tools. Of course, this was the MVP idea. Then we move forward into how to scale, how to use extensive, robust infrastructure, everything in AWS at this moment. I can show you later if I have time. We invested a lot. We have a lot of components. It's more, as I promised, to offer a scalable from the business point of view. Also from the technology point of view. But scalable infrastructure is very important because we don't have to recreate every time the infrastructure in other regions. So that's why okay, so. So this is something probably some of you have already seen in media. This is our landing page. It's structured, very intuitive. So we have a water space on the upper side. We have my repository, and we have sample repository. Then we have other features on the left bar. So what I'm going to show you now before we're going to the blockchain, because I mentioned before about the subscription, so just roughly to show that we have done some progress during this So this is just demonstrative. Prices are not to be taken in consideration. Actually, it's in US dollar, but it's token equivalent. So because our situation is token based, we have also other. So anyway, we have the possibility to self-register. As we have seen before in the login page, anyone can self-register but have to subscribe. And when you subscribe, you have to decide if you are. This is already subscribed, okay? If you are a corporate or individual, okay? And then you have the payment here. Actually, it's a very basic, I know, it's a basic look and feel, but we try to put more effort into the logic behind, and then we will go further with enhancement. I mean, lifting will be in what I said before, in the release candidate phase from August to September. We will take care to engage more designers and UI, UX. That will be our effort for the final stage. Yeah. So, yeah, the payment methods here are MDX and credit card. Credit card not yet available for obvious reasons. Okay, we want to, strategically, we want to see first how it goes with tokens. And if it goes very well with tokens, we will postpone the credit card as an option if everything goes fine. That doesn't mean we will not accept also this kind of option for the payments. Any question, please? I paid already. It's something I said before. We are working on. It's not yet. For the payment. We practically use for the payment. Our module is integrated in the platform, and we want to use to wait for the payment. One is using the hardware key, and the other one is with MetaMask. This is the first phase, of course. If something very let's say important for us, we don't want to store any private key. We don't want to go in this kind of issues at the beginning. So we want to take care more about the offering, the services, the service part. So we will be looking into how to improve also this. Okay, so this is the subscription. So everybody can subscribe. After subscribe, you have the possibility to upgrade. So anyway, this is an important thing that we are going to refine. So we have a free package, especially for curious people, individual, go here and click and try. So the basic package, we have trio space, 8 dB, it's also, this is like illustrative. Ethereum private network for testing, this is okay for startup. We have advanced, more in-demand price. Here we can offer, as we discussed before, we are already facing these cases with proof of authority and proof of work, but particularly proof of authority is the most wanted blockchain private at this moment, because it's also fast and many use cases can be run on this kind of protocol. Enterprise version is for we have a cap scale, we have a possibility to create consortiums. So this is our aim to go further to create consortium for enterprise companies. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have the as discussed before, we are opening to the App Store. App Store is the marketplace that we want to offer to the developer. They can. Here there are many options. I will not spend so much time to show, because you can create, develop your application, use your own integrated tools, and then publish here and you can, after that, you can publish, and another user can log in and download it after paying these applications. He can download in he can download here and just simulate how this application look and feel, how it works, can customize it and then redeploy it again in the blockchain. So it's very, very fast. So after this download, there is also a donation part. It's important for us because we try to capture attention on this marketplace, and we try to maintain a list of curated applications, because the more curated they are, the more reliable the App Store is. So downloading the application here on the repository, it goes into the repository and so it goes into the repository and we are using GitLab at this moment. This is the public version, but we are installing the private version. Will be on our own premises. This is to store the code. So what happened? Actually, I skipped some steps. When you buy the application from the App Store and click download, it injects into the repository our, let's say, invitation. It's like inviting. If you don't have a user account, it will be necessary to register. So let me just simulate this. Okay, so what I've done, I download the application from the App Store, go into the repository, inject into code into the market, everywhere. You can, idea is you can use GitHub, GitLab, okay, and then authenticate into the platform, and this is going to create a workspace in our. This is just for this event to show. Okay. So now I'm opening the blockchain development, everything integrated. We are working also to allow developers to connect with other very well-known tools like VS Code, Atom, and other tools like that. Okay. So interesting here, this part probably somebody has seen it, but now it's the entry point is from the App Store. So. As I mentioned, we have also the GitHub is doing the same. So the idea is to promote the marketplace. So you can code, you can anyway change. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to show. Okay. Okay. So we deploy the application there. So we are now to see if, yeah. It should be running, right? Yeah. Okay, so application running, it's similar, you can imagine now we are refining this process, it's similar like you have your smartphone, you download from the App Store, and you can test it. So you can decide, you can run it, or either you can go into the developer, you go into the code, modify it, and compile it again and run it. So actually, we have a, I clicked the wrong one. Yeah. So it was very short from the source code, from the App Store, download the application, see the code, download into the console, compile, and see the web interface of the DADB. In this case, that was the demo. Just show. Okay. I take questions, my friend. Okay.
What language are you using?
It depends. We have spoken now. What we have seen is Solidity. Yeah, Solidity, because I tested the simple Ethereum application. I don't want to spend complexity and time. We have language servers. If you want LAS servers, so we're going to inject these LAS servers into the IDE. So any kind of we have a language services support into our IDE. So also Go and Python and Solidity, and the language will be supported in our cloud IDE, depending on the blockchain technology that you want to develop on.
You don't do anything in Golang?
Golang. Initially, we have thought about how to sort. Because actually, what is when I propose this is because we are realizing with our platform another collateral effect is that we are realizing how the blockchain performance is important and the usability and the use cases. So to our platform, practically we are becoming a natural selector of the most valid blockchain because we are in contact with the business and we understand the business need and wants, and based on that we acquire experience on that. So we are trying to plug into the platform the bottom layer, down the bottom layer, before the bottom layer, the most performance with a strong community. This is first, strong community, high performance in transaction and use cases. Use cases very important. Okay.
Okay, so in the interest of time, I think we have actually 2 more. So if we have other questions, we can take the questions towards the end of this session. So thank you, Laura. Yeah. So let me introduce the next speaker from them, Mr. Stephen.
Thanks, Preston. Actually, I'm from Malaysia, so I have dual role. Essentially, I am involved in NEM blockchain as a council member in the foundation, which is registered here in Singapore. My day job actually is the regional head for Asia for NEM. So today, I'm just going to actually help me understand the group here, okay? Because it's my first time attending an event here in Morpheus Labs. On a scale of 1 to 10, please tell me where you are in terms of knowledge about blockchain, okay? So everybody must vote, okay? if you are 10 being really super, if you are 1 to 3 in terms of knowledge of blockchain and what you have seen, please raise your hand. Okay? How about those who are 3 to 5, the knowledge? Half. How about 5 to 8? Okay? How about 8 to 10? How about the rest? You guys are here for the free food. Okay. Okay, since I seem overdressed for Friday, I'm just putting on my jacket. Also, it's really hot. Okay. I was actually, I just came from Echelon, which is actually a startup event in Singapore Expo, right? And I went there actually just to understand a little bit about what is young companies doing and are they doing anything in blockchain. Surprisingly, I found nearly 10 companies using the technology. Okay, so for the benefit of those those guys who are probably 12 and 15 rating, you guys can kind of take a nap for the next 20 minutes because I'm going to explain to you guys what makes blockchain so powerful as a technology. Okay, so sorry about that. I actually used this for a presentation NTU this morning. So anyway, I'm going to explain a little bit about why blockchain is what it is. Okay, I have some magic person to give the clicker, right? Okay. Okay, great. So let's talk about what blockchain is not first. Easy, right? So blockchain is actually not Bitcoin. Contrary to what a lot of the newspapers tell you, right? It's also not a Ponzi or pyramid scheme unless you want it to be. It's also not about mining or creating coins. So not only for fintech. Okay? It's also not illegal about evading taxes, although you are smart enough, you can. Okay. It's not about going to make, any of you guys in working for banks or financial institutions, okay, you won't be dinosaurs, don't worry. Okay? It's not going to replace money. You're not going to go buy a nasi lemak with Bitcoin. Okay? It's not going to happen. So, in a nutshell, let's talk about blockchain first. Today, if you send emails to your friend, when you hit send on Outlook or Gmail, whatever email program you use, you know that when you hit send, your emails get transported, handed off from computer to computer like magic. Next thing you know, your friend gets your email. No problem, right? Then, when you send a file today, you hit send. Next thing you know, little chunks of your file or your whole file gets transported through the internet magically. Your friend gets your pretty picture or your file, whatever it is, right? But today, if we were to send a transaction of any type, not just money, it can be any transaction, we need what we call a middleman. Who are the middlemen? The middlemen are banks, payment gateway, Alipay, they're in town already. Yes, Alipay. In fact, you guys got something quite cool called PayLah, right? So PayLah, right? So, imagine if you and I, let's say me and Branson, let's say I owe him 1,000 Sing dollars. I can transfer 1,000 Sing dollars and repay him directly without a middleman. I will need to use a bank because Branson maybe don't trust that I'll pay him back, and he won't trust me that I don't trust that he will tell me that he received it twice maybe. But we need a middleman, right? And guess what is the problem? The middleman charges a lot of money. Yes. Every time you go to the bank, they charge you everything for everything, right? So, but there exists a technology today called blockchain that can be the network that we all use. That's cool, isn't it? That means I can send 1,000 Sing dollars or 1,000 US dollars or 100,000 US dollars to Branson without the use of a middleman. That technology exists today. That technology is actually blockchain technology at its core. And it doesn't need to be money. It can be any unit of measure. It can be a loyalty point. It can be a prepaid, anything. So, what makes blockchain so powerful? Basically, today, all of us, including, let's say, your contact list on your phone, is in what we call a centralized database. It means it's all stored in one place. You heard about horror stories of people get hacked, Mobile phone companies got hacked, stuff got stolen in the bank, information. But blockchain is interesting. Instead of storing all in one master copy, it takes that master copy of a file or database or whatever list of anything and put it on a whole bunch of computers that work in tandem with each other. This is what we call distributed ledger. That means it's a list that is distributed across a wide network. Now, when you have it in distributed, that means not one person and one copy, everybody has the same copy on the network. What that means is, one, it makes it hack-proof because you can take down 90% of those computers, 10% of computers that is left standing still have a copy. It's just like if I gave my whole phone book to all of you guys, I take up 90% of the room, I still got 10% that have my contact list. That's cool, right? It also makes it scalable because if, let's say, I'm a payment or transaction network, I process 1 million transactions now, I only need maybe 100 computers. But if I process 100 million transactions, I can add more computers to this network. Whereas if I was in the old style here, I would need a really big computer. Yes? So it also is interesting, this whole blockchain network is encrypted, meaning when one computer talks to another, the information flow is encrypted. Why is it important? Because you heard of what we call man-in-the-middle hacker, right? This guy's sole purpose in life is to sit between two computers. He watched the information flowing from computer A to B and sniff and steal the information. But in a blockchain network, both this information is encrypted. So he cannot, all he sees is garbage flowing through the two networks. The third thing is unique to blockchain is actually it's immutable. Immutability is actually what makes blockchain blockchain. Because immutability is that when something is written on the record, nobody can change it or tamper with it. That's the reason why it's tamper-proof. It's also low cost because the computers that work together doesn't need to be very, very powerful. Unlike this computer, that needs to be really, really strong server because it's running one giant database. Right? So with all this combined, you have the attributes of a very strong network. The hack-proof part comes about is, in order for you to successfully penetrate a blockchain network, you need to hack all the computers on the blockchain network simultaneously within a microsecond. In fact, if you want to earn, I think lately it's $30 million US, very simple. Just spend your life learning how to hack the Bitcoin blockchain. If you successfully hack it, they will give you a bounty of $30 million US. So far, 9 years now, the Bitcoin blockchain has been running, processing transactions called Bitcoin, and it's never been hacked. In fact, our NEM blockchain was turned on April Fool, April 1st, 2015. It has been running non-stop for the past 3 years. Never missing a transaction, never adding one more or one less transaction. Right? I think we have a bounty too, so you can try to hack our network. Okay? So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about cryptocurrency. Sorry, I didn't localize it to the Singapore, whatever. This is a Malaysian. What is the things on the right? Prepaid cards, right? How about this? This one you recognize is Starbucks, right? This is Cha Time. How about Bonus Link? Bonus Link is, what is the equivalent here? Your loyalty program? Yeah. Points, card, whatever. Everybody seems to have a bonus link. I've been collecting the bonus links for 30 years. I have no idea why. I got like 500,000 points. Maybe one day I exchange it for a toaster or something, right? So, I want to ask you, is all of this, now you guys cannot sit on the fence, okay? You all have to vote. Is this money or currency? How many say yes? Okay, everybody have to vote, okay? Nobody sit on the fence. How many say yes, it's money? How many say no? No way. How about the others? Man, you guys don't vote. Jeez, you cannot sit on the fence. Sometimes you have to make decisions in life, okay? Anyway, maybe I think it's money. It's a little bit like money because you pay money to have prepaid talk minutes. You exchange latte for points. your Starbucks card, maybe, right? Here, bonus link, yeah, I got 300,000 points. Maybe I'll exchange it for a toaster or vacuum cleaner one day. It's also money, right? Interesting thing is, this is all the cryptocurrencies, only half of it, less than half of it. If you read the newspapers in Asia, especially the Thai newspaper in Malaysia, you will only think that you would think that there's only one currency in the world called Bitcoin. But there are over 1,500 digital currencies in the world, right? This is, in fact, Bitcoin, I think, is just that little one on the right-hand side, top right hand. Every single one of these does something different, right? Not necessarily all of them you use to buy stuff on the internet. In fact, we have our own too. In NEM, our cryptocurrency is called ZEM, XEM. The chances are you won't use our ZEM to buy stuff on the internet or even buy nasi lemak in the mama store here, right? So this is how it looks like. You just need to have a digital wallet software, and there you go, you have your Bitcoin, right? But here's the question, is it money? Is it money? What do you guys think? Okay, is it money? You guys really have to vote, okay? I won't let anybody go without putting out their hand. Is it money? Okay, now we have more people. Is it not money? Less people. Okay, the rest are still sleeping. Okay, what if today you all got fed up of Sing dollars, and I also got very fed up of Malaysian ringgit? We all decided to use banana leaf. I'm going to go to my backyard, cut down banana leaf, I'm going to cut into little square pieces, maybe put my chalk on it, and I'm going to say, this is my currency. Can or not? Can. Oh, please. Okay, what if I take that banana leaf, I say, hey Branson, remember I owe you $500 the other day, I'm going to give you a stack of green colored banana leaf, nicely stacked. And then Branson says, oh, I also like banana leaf. Next thing you know, I paid off my $500 I owe him in banana leaf. Then Branson went off and gave it to Hannah and says, Hannah, can you go down to the local store and buy me a nasi lemak or teh tarik with the banana leaf? And Hannah says, Branson, no problem, I'll buy you nasi lemak. She goes down to the store, and next thing you know, the mama store guy also says, I also like banana leaf. And he takes it and gives her nasi lemak. What did we just do? We just made banana leaf a currency. What is interesting about Bitcoin is that it was never meant to be a currency. What happened was, years ago, there's a guy, I don't even know if it's a guy or girl or Japanese or group, called Satoshi Nakamoto. He said, I am going to write a piece of software, I'm going to design a network called the Bitcoin blockchain. And this software, I'm going to give it away free. But those people who download my software and run it on their computer and help me successfully process transactions, I am going to reward them. What was the reward? Bitcoin. So Bitcoin actually was just that. It was a reward for helping a guy called Satoshi run his software and process transactions for him. That's exactly what happened, but some smart guy who actually had a whole bunch of Bitcoin because he liked Satoshi, he kept running his software for him. Next thing you know, his friend said, hey, I owe you $1,000, can I give you in Bitcoin? The guy said, yeah, okay, I'll take Bitcoin. That's how it began. That's how Bitcoin became what it is. But more importantly, Bitcoin has the attributes of something very unique that we all know about. Gold. You all know that gold is valuable, correct? You all also know that gold is limited or scarce. That means there's only that much gold in the world. Yes? So, Bitcoin was also scarce. In Satoshi's paper, in fact it's a 9-page paper, if you want to read it, Google it, download it and read it. It's actually quite good reading. Okay? It's not technical. Not so technical actually. So he says that in the world there's going to be 21 million Bitcoins. Nothing more, nothing less. And every time people process transaction for me, I'm going to give him a Bitcoin. So far, he has given away roughly, I think, nearly 17 million Bitcoins. Okay, so let's talk about Bitcoin blockchain as a startup company. In fact, this is some of the, it's quite crazy. We bought one in since 5 years ago, you were at 131,000%. It's quite scary, right? And you're like, why didn't I buy Bitcoin? Right? Even you bought it in the last 1 year, you could have done pretty well too. 2,000%, right? But let's look at this interesting statistic. Federal Express, you guys know, right? 45-year-old company is $60 billion. Caterpillar, 92-year-old company. Today their market capitalization is 81 billion. Spent 90 years making bulldozers, right? But Bitcoin roughly took 8 years. The market cap for Bitcoin last year in December was roughly combined that of Caterpillar and FedEx. It's crazy, right? It took them 8 years only. And it's getting quite established. Also getting acceptance everywhere. Banks are getting nervous. But it's volatile like crazy because Bitcoin can go up and down 10% every day. Right? But let's look at the volatility. Here's the volatility of Bitcoin over the years. You notice that in the beginning it got very, very volatile up and down, but it actually diminished a little bit. But you look at Amazon, it has the same type of crazy growth. This is the .com time, right? Where Amazon and all these early companies, right? You see? We see a little pattern, right? Okay? Let's talk fast forward a bit. Some of this you probably know. You guys know about IPO, right? A company going listing. But of course you guys heard of ICOs, right? ICO is nothing more than a new means of fundraising, right? What is interesting thing is, how many of you guys are fans of Kickstarter? I'm also a fan of Kickstarter. I'm banned from buying any more Kickstarter by my wife. Okay? Kickstarter is actually nothing more than a company who says, I'm going to build this product. If anybody want to support me in the world, send me money. In the world of ICO, it's interesting. I'll tell you a little story about this guy. He's Patrick. Patrick Dai is a young man in China. He worked for 3 years in Alibaba. He came up with a very good idea. His company is called Quantum. Right? And he says, you know, there's so many blockchains out there. I'm going to write a piece of software that will make all the blockchains talk to each other. At that time, he says, I don't have any money, so I am going to tell the world about this idea I have. He created a website, put up his idea in form of a white paper. He wrote a little business plan, just like a mini business plan. And he said, whoever support my idea, send me money. In actual fact, send me digital currency. So, I was crazy, I didn't know who he was. I went to Allcoin Exchange, which is one of the cryptocurrency exchange. Went and scrambled, opened an account, sent money and all that. 5 days later, I was ready to send money to Quantum. Guess what? I was too late. Quantum, in 96 hours, raised $15.6 million. To close after that. Even more sad was when I met him in New York, I nearly choked on my bagel after talking to him. Because since then, he has gone up 6 times. And guess what? He hasn't even wrote his software yet. Of course, now he has wrote that down. Even more sad was, he went up 350%. Today, if you go to CoinMarketCap, I think he's listed in the top 20 until QTUM. Right? I think he's $1 billion market cap today. Crazy, right? Guess what? All he did was wrote a piece of software. Okay, now it's in beta, I think. He released it in October. Right? Here's another one. This is Morpheus. This is a little company from Estonia. It says, I'm going to build a digital bank. It's going to be on the blockchain. Right? He says, the Morpheus people say, if I were to raise 1.5 million, I'm going to have an authorized payment gateway. If I raise 6 million, I'm going to be a commercial bank. If I raise 10 million, I'm going to do digital pass to do things like Internet of Things, e-signatures for Europe and all that. And if I raise $25 million, I'm going to be an SME marketplace and do brokerage at the same time. Guess what? In 30 days, they raised $30 over million US dollars. So now they are actually a digital bank, right? Still working on their project. Here's something closer to home. This project is actually powered by NEM blockchain. LoyalCoin is a company called Absolutely. They are Philippines' largest loyalty program. They are the loyalty program like Bonus Link, you know. They are the loyalty program for Starbucks, for 7-Eleven, for Family Mart in the Philippines. With only one problem. All the loyalty programs that they have developed for all these companies, they don't talk to each other. That means they're all in silos. So LoyalCoin people, or rather Absolutely people, got a very simple idea. They said, why don't we create one universal loyalty program? One universal loyal token or loyal coin. So that when somebody goes to buy a latte in Starbucks, they earn loyal token. If they go to 7-Eleven, they also earn loyal token. Then they can gather all this and spend it at Petron, which is older than their customer. Guess what? They say, not only that, we rewrote the software and the app for it. If they were a Philippine company trying to raise money, what are their chances of getting funded? Probably quite sad, right? Because you can't go IPO because you don't have a track record. Maybe best is they went to their 3 Fs: family, friends, or fools who believe in what they do, right? So, or went to VC, was take half their company. Right? So they say we're going to do an ICO. They did. The ICO was to sell tokens and power their business with the NEM blockchain. So they raised in 30 days, 35 or 45 days, they raised $22 million US dollars. Right? Here's another one, and this one is actually interesting because it's done by a Malaysian who's not even in Malaysia. Pundi is a company, strange name for a company, but Pundi is actually a company based in Jakarta. They say we're going to build the next generation blockchain, next generation point of sale system. You know how when you go to a retailer, you see their table, the counter when you make payment, there are like 5 different machines on the counter, right? This guy, Zach, who's the CEO founder of Pundi, says, what we're going to do is we're going to replace all that with just one machine. This machine can read and write credit card, debit card, Alipay, WeChat Pay, whatever, PayLah and all that, and be able to pay by cryptocurrency or any digital currency on the blockchain. Right? In fact, this is how their platform looks like, and they even have a token within their system so that it can be the token for settlement within all these different disparate systems. They went out on a pre-ICO, they raised $6 million. At the end of their 40 days of ICO, they raised $45 million US dollars. Today, they are a very successful company because they just got an order for, I think, 10,000 POS in Korea, and they are delivering their first 10,000 terminals in 45,000 warungs in Indonesia. Right? And their distributors now all over the world. I think they're here too. Right? So, let's talk a little bit about them. Okay? Basically, in 2014, a bunch of very smart young people, all 4 of them, 2 in the US, 2 in America, 2 in Europe, they say, I think we can write a better blockchain. So what they did was, they started in 2014, it took them a year, they finished and wrote what's today NEM blockchain. They wrote it from scratch without taking anybody's idea. They also went out to write what we call an enterprise-grade blockchain. Now, they've also put in features that are first of its kind. One is what we call first editable multi-sig wallet. Normally, when you do mobile payments, it's actually one wallet to one wallet. That means one user to one user. But in an enterprise environment, you need a wallet that's multi-signature, meaning like joint account, right? Because maybe there are 3 directors or 5, you want to sign off before the payment is made. We actually have that built in. Second thing they did was, on the NEM blockchain, you can create any digital asset. It does not need to be currency or does not need to be financial in nature. That means if you have a loyalty point, you can create it on the blockchain. Whatever digital, any unit of measure, it can be shared, it can be a unit, a commodity, anything. Right? We created something called namespaces, borrowing that from the domain name world. Meaning, if I'm Stephen, I want to create a Stephen loyalty point, or Stephen dollar, or Stephen token. I will own the name Stephen. Anything that I create after that will be identified to me. So that when it gets sent through the blockchain network, that token will be identified to me. So I can buy the word Stephen, just like you can buy, let's say, Sony token, Sony loyalty, Sony whatever, will be owned by Sony. So it's kind of like the domain name, right? CNN.com or something like that, right? We have two flavors of the NEM blockchain. Public chain, which has been running now with nearly 1,600 nodes for 3 years now. We also have what we call the permission or the private chain. Private chain typically has, let's say you want to build a little blockchain network within your company, or let's say within your insurance industry. You can. It's only just for your little ecosystem. In fact, I had an example for the NTU students today. I said, if you guys want to build an NTU private chain, with NEM you can just buy the namespace called NTU and you can go and play with it, right? So this is where we have the video. If you can show the video, because I won't explain NEM to you, this video does it very good.
You've probably heard of blockchain technology through its relationship with Bitcoin. But what you may not have heard is that blockchains are not just revolutionizing financial services, they are revolutionizing the world. Blockchains are becoming the world's most reliable, powerful, and cost-effective way to manage financial assets, documents, and contracts. And this is just the beginning. Until now, blockchain implementation for business has come with substantial risks and a range of complexities. Adapting existing company networks to be compatible with blockchain networks has proven difficult. But now there's a better way to implement an enterprise-grade blockchain data system that minimizes complexity and integrates seamlessly with existing systems. Meet NEM. While others were cloning old blockchain designs, NEM's team of professional developers built a new code base from the ground up. It has been designed and integrated with crucial enterprise pieces. We call them smart assets. NEM's smart asset system is configurable to manage almost anything: currencies or financial instruments, supply chains, notarizations, and ownership records. You can even create your own cryptocurrency or crowdfunding token. NEM is API-driven, so any application is compatible.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah. So anyway, I think we are short on time, but it's okay. This is basically how it looks like. So if you want to explore, go to nem.io and you can find out more information. Okay. These are just some of the things that you can do on the NEM blockchain. You want to create your own cryptocurrency, you can. You want to do crowdfunding, you want to do land registry, you want to do certification on the blockchain. These are some of the use cases. All right. So go to our website and you'll find a lot more use cases on there, right? So this example, we actually use this as a decentralized storage. You know how when you have centralized storage, people can hack it or steal the information. Proxima X is based on NEM, just one example of it, right? So what can you use with something like this? You can do any of these things on the blockchain, on the NEM blockchain, using Proxima X as a front end. Right? So this is also possible if you are in fintech. These are some of the solutions. You can create your own next generation exchange. You can even build your own KYC system. You can also do secure messaging that's built into the NEM blockchain. All right? Okay, so this is just some examples of foundation, like Linux Foundation, .NET Foundation. We are also a foundation. Our sole purpose in life is to work with governments, academia, and industry to introduce our open source blockchain, right? So that's what our foundation is for. We are a non-profit technology company, organization, okay? A lot of people ask, so open source means free, right? So how do you make money? I'd say, well, actually we don't need to, because we have our own cryptocurrency, right? That's what's fueling, that's what's paying me. And I have a great job, because my job is to give away free stuff, right? Because we are open source, right? So what we did was we took a portion of our funding and built Asia's largest blockchain center in Kuala Lumpur, which serves our whole region. This is how it looks like. If you guys are ever in Kuala Lumpur, come visit us. You can come and work here and learn more about blockchain. All right? We hope to do something like this in Singapore. We're working with the schools and also with people like SG Tech and maybe SG Innovate. All right? So, when we talk about giving free stuff, we always have a venture fund to fund companies that are building on NEM blockchain. We have something that is even more exciting. We have this thing called NEM Community Fund. Basically, it's a fund that's 250 million cents. If you have a great idea or any idea that you want to build a blockchain project, right? And you want to use NEM, you just write it up in a white paper and submit it to NEM. You can apply for up to 500,000 to 3 million cents. So at 15 cents, that's roughly up to like 600,000 US dollars. Okay? And it's not Stephen or the foundation that decide whether you get the money. It's our NEM community of over 15,000 people out there. You just have to convince 3% of our NEM community that the project is worth funding. Okay? 3%. Out of that 3% of the community, 51% will say yes. Then you get the funding. My job is actually to give you that funding when you hit your milestones. You decide what is the milestone. Alright? So, with this, we also do stuff like hackathons. So I hope to do one in Singapore with the universities, because I was at NTU today. And lastly, I want to leave you guys with this. You're already doing the first one, learn about blockchain, right? I also want you to do the second one, build a community of learning together about blockchain. Third is find use cases in your organization or in your group. How to use blockchain technology. And with this, a lot of people say, yeah, but how? You know, I don't know. Make Google your best friend. Just Google words like blockchain in airlines, blockchain in supply chain, blockchain in pharmaceuticals. When you Google, you'll see a lot of examples of how people are using blockchain, the technology, right? Ask, how will blockchain change your life? Just like, how will WhatsApp change your life, right? Or Airbnb for that matter. This is similar. Digital currency has a new way of doing business. Could be, because if it's a better way, why not, right? Then the lastly is, you know, I heard so many people making money or losing money on blockchain. Maybe you should take a closer look at it, right? Lastly, we are actually entering the fourth version or fourth phase of the internet. Blockchain is front and center of this fourth revolution, right? Because we know what happened in version 1. Version 2, it changed the way we communicate as individuals and across the world. Version 3 is how Facebook, social media, and all that changed the way we communicate around the world. Blockchain is going to change the way we transact with each other around the world. Okay, so these are some of the reference sites that you should go to, right? I encourage you guys to check it out. Lastly, if you guys got any projects that is needs blockchain, talk to Branson and Morpheus Labs. They'll be more than happy to share with you guys. And lastly, look at them as a potential way to power up your blockchain. And the nice thing about it is that my team will be here to help you guys to do so, and you don't even have to pay me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen, for the informative talk. I know we are running short of time, but this is the most interesting part. I hope you stay. So next up, we have blockchain. He flew down all the way here, so this should be very, very interesting. So let me introduce the next speaker, Mr. G.
Hey everyone, so my name is Chijo. I'm the founder and CEO of blockchain. Basically blockchain is blockchain 3.0 project that aims to address the blockchain scalability problem. And our team members are from Silicon Valley. Okay, yeah, that's great. Silicon Valley, and extensive experience in the scalability. Okay. So as we all know, blockchain has a lot of benefits. Like for example, in terms of decentralization, immutability, traceability. However, the transaction per second of the current blockchain compared to centralized system, for example Visa or Alipay, is extremely low. So for example, Ethereum right now is supporting roughly 10 transactions per second. And it's going to expand to 1,000 transactions by using cold exchange sharding. Well, compared to, for example, Alipay last year on 2018, November the 11th, they're able to achieve more than 200,000 transactions per second. So the low transaction per second of existing blockchain technologies greatly limits their wider applications. So essentially, actually there's core issues of achieving three core values of blockchain. One is decentralization, another is security, and finally is scalability. If we ignore one part of it, for example, suppose we ignore this decentralization, actually we have tons of solutions that develop in a centralized world, like for example Google's Big Table, etc. They're able to provide, like for example, millions of tens of millions of transactions in their data centers. If we ignore scalability, then Bitcoin and Ethereum are already achieving pretty good performance. And we can also, suppose we sacrifice the security, we can have, for example, multiple independent blockchains, but these will suffer from some security issues. For example, recently Bitcoin Go was been an attack because of lack of hash power on the network. So basically, our idea is that actually there are a lot of mature solutions in the centralized systems. And so, basically our team members from these big companies and try to utilize existing mature centralized solutions to address this problem. So since the start of our project of this year, we have received a lot of attentions from both investors and also community. So for example, Signum is one of the investors from Singapore. We also have investors from European, China, United States, Korea. And we have also organic user growth since we started our community since early April. And we do not have any promotions. And when at the end of this May, when we have our crowd sale, we have roughly more than 100,000 people in our community. And we also be listed in Binance at the early of this month. So we know that Binance is the largest exchange in the world. And listing Binance is pretty difficult. So listing Binance will greatly help us to differentiate with projects. So now, before I enter the details of our technologies, let me just revisit a little bit of the scalability history. So back to centralized world in 2000, before 2000, before the rise of the internet, people try to address the scalability issues by calling technology called vertical scalability. The basic idea is to add more expensive resources to a single machine system. For example, by adding more expensive CPU, more memory, and also more storage. And there are a couple of companies that are famous in this area. For example, Sun is famous for its workstation, Oracle is famous for its database, and EMC is famous for its storage. However, one critical issue of the vertical scalability is that because of the physical limitations of the single machines, so the performance cost of achieving, like, for example, 2 times or 3 times of performance sometimes cost much higher, and eventually we reach some limits because, like, we cannot arbitrarily put infinite transistors into a single machine. So with the rise of the internet, the users grows exponentially. And so Google and Facebook, those new companies in the internet, address the scalability issue using another different way called horizontal scalability. By building large-scale distributed systems, and once the users' demands grow, it increases system capacity by just adding more nodes in the network. And this also created new terms like cloud. So following this trend, when we observe the decentralized world, we predict that it's actually following a similar trend in the centralized world. So, for example, in the early stage of the blockchain technologies, we define a vertical scale by improving single blockchain performance. So, for example, the Bitcoin has a block interval with 600 seconds with maximum block size of 1 megabytes. So Litecoin increased the blockchain performance by reducing the 600 seconds block interval to 150, so that you can have 4 times performance improvement. And Bitcoin Cash basically increased the block size from 1 megabyte to 8 megabytes, so that you can claim 8 times performance improvement. And however, those numbers, block interval, cannot arbitrarily decrease, or block size cannot arbitrarily increase because of a limitation of the P2P network, because it has to reach a global consensus. So new blockchains try to address the scalability issues by employing new consensus. So for example, Ethereum using a consensus called Ghost algorithm, which further decreased the block interval to 15 seconds. And new, latest blockchain technologies, for example, using proof of stake, or another called delegate proof of stake, proposed by EOS, which is able to achieve sub-seconds block interval by only allowing 21 nodes to produce blocks. And we see that this is almost reaching the limit of blockchain because we cannot arbitrarily decrease these numbers. So we predict in the future, in order to have a blockchain technology that is able to serve every people in the world at any time and anywhere, it has to be improve the scalability in different ways, which we call horizontal scalability. And the core technology here is called sharding. Actually, sharding right now is a very hot topic in the blockchain example, Ethereum is going to using sharding to address their scaling problem. There are also tons of sharding projects that is being developed. However, actually sharding itself has been developed in the centralized world for decades. And it is also the most popular solutions to address the scalability problem in the centralized system, like for example, developed in Google and Facebook. And in addition, sharding is not only a single solution. It is a general idea how we partition the system state and process those states in parallel. And so, for example, Google has Google's sharding solutions, and Facebook has Facebook's sharding solutions. And even for different products, they have also different sharding solutions. So the blockchain aims to address this blockchain scalability problem by utilizing this horizontal scalability and advanced sharding certain technologies. So let me introduce what is blockchain. So blockchain is a decentralized and secure and scalable permissionless blockchain technologies that aims to deliver high on-chain transactions by using horizontal scalability technologies. So it is built by a bunch of engineers from those Googles and Facebook who has extensive experience in designing, implementing, testing, debugging, and maintaining and optimizing their infrastructure system and scalability solutions. And this is actually the architecture of the blockchain. And basically it contains two layers. There's a layer which we call the sharding layer, which basically partitions the whole system state. And so that this sharding layer just processes the transactions of each shard relatively independently. So and the system capacity can be increased and as the number of the shards increase in the network. However, since actually each shard is basically a blockchain, then basically they will come up with two fundamental problems. One is the security problem, is that any shards, suppose they're using the proof of work, can be easily be attacked by using the spending attack. Another is that how could these shards can interact with each other seamlessly so that they basically behave like the same blockchain. And this is basically how cross-shard transaction can be handled efficiently. And so to address this problem, the blockchain utilizes the second layer, which is a root blockchain, which it has only two functionalities. So first, it does not process any transactions. So it's basically just confirming all the block headers from all shards. So any double spending attack on every transaction in any shard has to be also attack the root blockchain. And second is that the root blockchain has sufficient hash power so that attacking the root blockchain will be have a significant economic cost. And so that even we can add more shards in the whole system network. And all these transactions in all the shards can be protected by the root chain. So any questions? Okay. Besides our two-layer designs, we have also have several innovations to improve the usability of the sharding blockchain. So one is that we allowed multiple smaller nodes to form together as a cluster. The main reason is that when a transaction second goes to very high, the cost of a single sugarcube node will be extremely expensive because the limitation of the single machines. To decrease the cost of such sugarcube node, we allow actually multiple nodes to which they are relatively cheap than compared to the sugarcube node, and put them together so that they can run a cluster to process all the ledger in the network, including all the ledger of all the shards and also the chain. In addition, we are also creating incentive for the miners who run a cluster. Another aspect we enhance the usability is that we allow a simple account management so that a user with a private key is able to handle all the addresses in all shards seamlessly. So that, like, for example, a user, sometimes they don't even be aware of which shard it is. And with the previous simple accounts management feature, we can further simplify the cross-shard transactions, which is designed to be our first-class citizens. So the cross-shard transaction can be run very efficiently. Anyone, anytime can run the issue of cross-shard transaction. And in addition, it is also scalable, which means that as the number of the shards increases in the network, the number of the cross-shard transaction can be issues during the network can be also increased. And it is also safe because any cross-shard transaction, attacking any cross-shard transaction, basically double spending attack, must also attack the root chain. Okay. Yeah. With this high transaction per second throughput like blockchain, you can enable a lot of the applications that originally was very hard to be delivered on, for example, Ethereum. For example, we can allow the micropayments that require very low latency and high throughput. And we can also allow like high frequency, like decentralized trading in our exchange. And other aspects, for example, gaming, advertisement, etc. And so this is our like scalability roadmap. So currently we are running towards our public testnet, which we aim to deliver more than 10,000 transactions per second. And also we are planning to optimize this testnet at the end of this year. We are expecting to have another orders of improvement to 10,000 transactions per second. And next year this time we are expecting to have a testnet that's able to demonstrate 1 million transactions per second. And we also run really fast in our development roadmap. For example, we currently, right now we have a testnet that is tested internally. We have 100 testnet volunteers that help us to test the network and have received very positive feedbacks. And at the end of this year, once everything is alright, then we are planning to launch on mainnet. And next year, this time, we are also planning to improve our network by introducing more advanced features. And I will demonstrate the testnet link. Yeah, testnet for the other later. And this actually is the first time we actually have this testnet beta version published in public. And we are also actually working towards localization in Singapore. We have a deep collaboration with the Morpheus lab, and we also have, for example, collaboration with the Policy Cloud Network, which is basically decentralized insurance. And Sparrow is basically a decentralized derivative. And we also have talked with Republic Protocol and also Kaiban Network. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, thanks for attending my segment. Any questions?
If I should get a question from the web, so the person asks, do you think smart wallet will slow down the network? That's the first part. And then for hackers, they attack the network through smart wallets mechanism from the smart contractors.
So basically, let me define smart wallet. Actually, smart wallet is application that help users to simplify their account management in like over the multiple shards. So basically, it is not a component that in the network. So smart wallet itself doesn't basically introduce the issues of the network, but a way that help users to application more like on top of the network. Yeah.
It's our offer. Okay. One more question from the web. I'm asking on behalf of the community for Morpheus web. So another question is, we would like you to list the 3 problems that you need to solve in order to achieve the 10,000 PPS.
Sorry?
We would like you to list 3 problems.
3 problems.
That you need to solve in order to achieve the 10,000 PPS.
Oh, so actually, 3 problems. Okay.
Maybe the 100K PPS.
Yeah, I think 10,000 is probably I won't say we have to finish it, but actually it is pretty close. If we want to retrieve more transactions per second, I think first, like for any scalability project, any aspect can be bottlenecked. For example, CPU can be bottlenecked, memory can be bottlenecked, and storage can be bottlenecked, and also the network can be bottlenecked. So in order to achieve higher capacity, which means that we must address all these bottlenecks in the order stage. So we have carefully performed and analyzed every aspect in terms of this bottleneck. But this possible have this unknowns, which may be like when we design maybe out of our hello? Yeah. So I think this is possible. Hello? Yeah, probably this is the most hurdle during when we reaching the goal. Yeah. Yeah.
Are planning to improve on horizontal scalability? How do you think that you improve on them or use case, which makes you the best So many other platforms, cryptocurrencies, work on fixing the issue, like work on the horizontal scalability. What do you think, what are the main things you think that change from other
Yeah, so basically there are a lot of other solutions. For example, generic field like Ethereum sharding, and also, for example, in Zilliqa. So from I think so. First of all, basic sharding technology is not it's an idea, but rather a solution. So we are expecting that there are a lot of solutions that try to address this problem. So they have different strengths or weaknesses. So it's hard to tell which one is the best. And second is that a lot of projects still in the experimental or research stage. So to my best knowledge, like Ethereum is still still investigating and clear a lot of details there. But from our perspective, especially we have this experience, which work on with these systems with great scalability. Because any system, like for example in Google, Facebook, probably will be the largest because they have largest users in the world. So we have this actually experience with this system in production. So that will help us. So first, run this project very fast. So for example, we start working on this project early this year. We built everything from scratch, but right now we have a pretty good testnet and also performance numbers. And second is that this will also help us to avoid a lot of pitfalls at an early stage, because a lot of these issues has already been hit in the centralized world, and so we are able to avoid these issues before when you really enter this some kind of design problems and need to restructure the system.
Any questions?
Let me see if I can do this without it being very hard. So you said that attacking a root node will be something a bit expensive to do in our presentation, right? So I have just a couple of questions. First off is how are root nodes chosen in your solution? And let's pretend I have a root node. It's supposed to be a very powerful node. How would you prevent malicious root nodes from actually affecting the ones beneath?
So, so how the root node to...
So the first question is how is the root node chosen? What makes a node a root node?
So actually, first, this is in the system. Basically, we are calling root blockchain, which basically can have nodes that run this root blockchain. And so this actually average in the network, basically every sugarful node basically runs all the blockchains, including root blockchain and also all the shards in the system. So imagine for example, suppose 21 nodes and EOS, each one basically runs all the ledger in the network. So every full node basically essentially can be consists of for example root node and also all the nodes that runs all the shards.
Okay, so what I understood is that the root node makes the validation work, which is not very heavy, and that's what makes your network really fast. So there have to be those root nodes. They do something more than the actual rest of the network, right? They validate the transaction. So my question is, if you have a malicious root node, how do you actually prevent that from affecting the whole network?
So basically, a root blockchain basically, or maybe a root node does not process the transaction. It just collects all the headers or maybe a multi proof from all the shards. And these shards already validate these transactions. So and then tell the root nodes, and they form a cluster as a sugarful node. So that as long as they work together, you can guarantee that any ledger that full ledger received in the network is guaranteed to be true, to be correct. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you everybody for your curiosity and interest of Shizo's talk. Now we'll be playing the very short 2-minute video that blockchain has to provide you with more information.
Hey, just give me a second. It's my great pleasure also to invite one of our partners, Playtable, which would like to demonstrate their products, and they also will have their products like a very fantastic products, and also have a deep collaboration with on top of our blockchain.
Hey everyone, I know you guys are a little tired, and it's been a long day, so bear with me for maybe 2 more minutes. So I'm just going to go straight to it. I'm not going to go through all the heavy technologies. I'm not going to explain to you, a bunch of things like POS or BOW. I'm just going to go straight to this video and really, really showcase how we're going to bring blockchain to the typical consumer. And we've been working very closely in the past couple of weeks with CorkChain to figure out how that's going to happen on CorkChain. And so, without further ado, I want to introduce the video, and then after the video is done, I'll open up to questions. So, go ahead. Where is this at?
Where's the style?
So basically what's happening over here is a video game console that works with physical objects like dice, cards, and physical objects. And you can also see you're playing games like poker with your smartphone. And a big part of what we've built it on is the software technology around CorkChain to really track the physical objects, to track the wallets, to track the gaming. And a lot of the explanation right now is